Credit card debt just hit 1.233 trillion, the highest in American history. Interest rates are at 21.39% on average, with some cards charging 27.55%. And 11.35% of all credit card balances are now 90-plus days delinquent, levels we haven't seen since 2011. Here's what that means for you. If you have the average credit card balance of $6,500 and you're only making minimum payments at 22% interest, you'll pay over $16,000 total, and it will take you 22 years to pay off. 22 years. But it gets worse. Banks are using something called variable rate cards that automatically increase your interest rate when the Federal Reserve raises rates. So even if you had a 15% rate when you opened the card, it might be 24% now. And you probably didn't even notice because it's buried in the fine print. And here's the really scary part. The system is designed to keep you in debt forever. Minimum payments are calculated to barely cover the interest, so your principal balance barely moves. Banks make more profit when you stay in debt longer. It's not an accident, it's the business model. The average American with credit card debt pays over $200 per year in interest alone. That's $200 that could go to savings, investments, or paying down the actual debt. Instead, it goes straight to bank profits. And if you think you're different because you pay it off every month, I'll show you why that strategy might be costing you more than you realize. In this video, I'm exposing why credit cards are destroying the middle class, how the system is rigged to keep you in debt, which cards are the worst offenders, and why canceling your credit cards might be the best financial decision you ever make. But before we dive into this, if you want to escape the debt trap and build real wealth, make sure you're subscribed to the Investor's Lens. We expose the financial traps that keep people poor. Hit that subscribe button right now and let's get into it. But there's one fact about credit, card interest rates, that is by far the most predatory, and most people have no idea it's happening to them. It's the variable rate clause, and it's automatically stealing money from your wallet every month. Let me explain how this works. When you sign up for a credit card, you see a rate advertised, maybe 15.99% or 18.999% APR. That sounds high but manageable. But buried in the terms and conditions is a clause that says variable rate based on the prime rate. The prime rate is set by the Federal Reserve. When the Fed raises interest rates to fight inflation, the prime rate goes up, and your credit card interest rate automatically increases with it. Here's what happened. In 2021, the Federal Reserve's target rate was 0.25%. Credit cards averaged about 14 to 15% interest. Then inflation hit. The Fed raised rates from 0.25% to 5.5% in less than 2 years, the fastest rate increase in 40 years. And your credit card rates went up automatically. The average credit card APR went from 14.56% in 2021 to 21.39% by late 2024. That's a 47% increase in the interest rate. But here's the predatory part. Did your credit card company call you and say, hey, we're raising your rate from 15% to 22%? No. They buried it in a disclosure statement mailed to you months earlier that you probably threw away without reading. So you're carrying the same $5,000 balance, making the same minimum payments, but suddenly your interest charges went from $62 per month to $92 per month. That's an extra $30 per month. $360 per year in interest charges just because the Fed raised rates. And it's completely legal. You agreed to it when you signed the contract, but you probably didn't realize what you were agreeing to. Now let's look at what this means for your actual debt payoff. Take a $6,500 balance, the average American credit card debt, at 15% interest making minimum payments, 3% of balance. You'd pay it off in about 12 or 13 years, paying roughly $2,500 total. But at 22% interest, which is where many cards are now, that same $6,500 takes 22 years to pay off and costs over $16,000 total. You pay $500 more in interest just because rates went up, and some cards are even worse. Store credit cards often charge 27 to 30% interest. Buy now, pay. Later services converted to credit cards charge similar rates. If you're paying 28% interest on a $5,000 balance, you're paying $116 per month in interest alone. Your minimum payment might be $150, which means only $34 goes to principal. At that rate, if you only make minimum payments, you'll be in debt for 30 plus years. The math is designed to trap you. Banks don't want you to pay off the balance quickly. They want you to make minimum payments forever because that's how they maximize profit. Credit card companies made $130 billion in interest and fees in 2024. That's not revenue. That's pure interest and fees extracted from cardholders. Most of that comes from people carrying balances and paying 20-30% interest. You are the product. Your debt is their profit center. And the variable rate clause ensures that as the cost of borrowing goes up for them, they pass 100% of that cost to you, plus extra margin. This isn't a financial product, it's a trap. But even if you're one of the smart people who pays off every month, there's a hidden cost you're not seeing. This next truth is perhaps the most controversial because it challenges what everyone believes about credit card rewards. It's the rewards card myth. And studies prove that rewards cards make you spend more money than you save in rewards. Here's the common belief. I'm smart with credit cards. I pay off my balance every month. I get 2% cash back on everything. I'm making money from the credit card companies. But research from MIT and other institutions shows this is almost always wrong. A study by the Journal of Consumer Research found that people who use credit cards spend 12 and 18% more than people who use cash for the same purchases. The psychological effect of not seeing physical money leave your wallet makes you less price sensitive and more willing to make impulse purchases. Do the math. If you spend $2,000 per month on a 2% cashback card, you get $40 back per month, $480 per year. Sounds great, but if using the card causes you to spend even 10% more than you would with cash or debit, which the research says is conservative, that's $200 extra spending per month. Over a year, that's $2,400 in extra spending to earn $480 in rewards. You spent $2,400 extra to get $480 back. You didn't make money. You lost $1,920. But I'm disciplined, you say. I only buy what I need. The research shows that almost nobody is immune to this effect. Even financially sophisticated people spend more with credit cards than cash. And there are other hidden costs. Rewards cards almost always come with annual fees. The premium cards that give 3 or 5% back charge $95, $250, or even $550 annual fees. Unless you're spending massive amounts and actually using all the benefits, airport lounge access, travel credits, etc., you're not breaking even. Plus, rewards cards have higher interest rates. If you ever slip up and carry a balance for even 1 month, which 45% of pay-in-full users do at least once per year, the interest charges wipe out years of rewards. Here's a real example. You carry a $3,000 balance for 1 month on a rewards card at 24% interest. That's $60 in interest charges. To earn $60 in rewards at 2% back, you'd need to spend $3,000, so 1 month of carried balance erases a month worth of rewards. And there's a darker truth about rewards. Who's actually paying for those rewards? It's merchants. Credit card companies charge merchants 2 to 3% in processing fees. Merchants raise their prices to cover those fees, so everyone's prices are 2 to 3% higher because of credit card interchange fees. When you use a rewards card, you're getting back a tiny fraction of the price increase that everyone, including you, is paying. You're not making money, you're getting a small rebate on the extra costs built into every price. Dave Ramsey calls rewards cards a $20 bill tied to a stick that chases you like a carrot. You keep running to get the $20, but you never catch it because you're spending $100 chasing it. The credit card industry wouldn't offer rewards if they weren't profitable. They've done the math. They know that rewards programs increase spending more than they cost in rewards paid out. Otherwise, they wouldn't do it. You think you're winning, but the house always wins. And you're not the house. You're the player. But the real crisis isn't people who pay off their cards. It's what's happening with delinquencies. Here's the economic disaster that's building right now, and nobody's talking about it. It's credit card delinquencies. And the numbers show we're heading toward a consumer debt crisis worse than 2008. Let me give you the data. As of Q3 2024, 11.35% of all credit card balances are 90-plus days delinquent. That means over 11% of the $233 trillion in total credit card debt, about $140 billion, is severely delinquent. That delinquency rate is the highest since 2011 during the aftermath of the financial crisis, and it's rising fast. It was 8.5% in 2022, 9.8% in 2023, and now 11.35% in 2024. That's a 33% increase in 2 years. But it's worse than it looks. The delinquency rate is highest among young people. For borrowers under 30, the delinquency rate is over 15%. That means 1 in 6 young people with credit cards are at least 90 days behind on payments. Why is this happening? 3 reasons. First, inflation destroyed purchasing power. Prices rose 20% from 2021 to 2024. Wages rose maybe 10% for most workers. People used credit cards to bridge the gap between income and expenses. Now they're drowning in debt they can't pay back. Second, student loan payments restarted. The COVID-era pause on student loan payments ended in late 2023. Millions of borrowers suddenly had $300, $500 per month in loan payments added back to their budgets. Many used credit cards to cover the shortfall. Now they can't afford both. Third, rising interest rates. As we covered earlier, credit card rates went from 14% to 21% plus. If you're carrying a balance, your minimum payment increased significantly. People who were barely making payments at 15% literally can't make payments at 22%. And here's where it gets scary. When you become delinquent on a credit card, the penalties are brutal. After 30 days late, you get hit with a $30, $40 late fee. After 60 days, another fee. After 90 days, your interest rate often jumps to a penalty rate, 29.99% or higher. So now you're paying almost 30% interest on debt you already couldn't afford at 22%. It's mathematically impossible to catch up. Eventually, the account gets charged off, meaning the bank writes it off as a loss and sells your debt to a collection agency for pennies on the dollar. The collection agency then harasses you trying to collect. But the damage doesn't end there. The late payments and charge-off destroy your credit score. Your score drops from 720 to 520. Now, you can't get approved for an apartment lease, a car loan, or even some jobs that check credit. Your financial life is ruined for 7 years, the length of time negative marks. Stay on your credit report. And what does the bank lose? Almost nothing. They already made huge profits from your interest payments. They write off the remaining balance as a tax deduction. And they sell your debt to a collector who paid 5 to 10 cents on the dollar. You lose everything. They lose nothing. This is the credit card system working exactly as designed. The banks win whether you pay or default. You only lose. And with delinquencies at 11% and rising, we're looking at a wave of personal bankruptcies in 2025-2026 that could rival the financial crisis. So if credit cards are this bad, what should you actually do? Here's the objection everyone raises when I say cancel your credit cards, and it's based on a myth the financial industry wants you to believe. It's the credit score myth. And you need to understand that credit scores exist to keep you borrowing, not to help you build wealth. The argument goes, but I need good credit to buy a house, get a car loan, rent an apartment. I have to keep credit cards to maintain my score. Let's break this down. Yes, credit scores matter for certain things. But here's what people don't understand. You can have excellent credit without credit cards. Your credit score is based on 5 factors: payment history, 35%, amounts owed, 30%, length of credit history, 15%, new credit, 10%, and credit mix, 10%. Notice that having credit cards is not a category. What matters is that you have a history of borrowing money and paying it back on time. A car loan builds credit, a mortgage builds credit. Student loans build credit. Even paying rent with services like Rental Karma can build credit. You don't need credit cards. But I need credit cards to build credit to get a mortgage. Wrong. Manual underwriting exists. If you have zero debt, a stable job, a down payment, and pay your rent and utilities on time, you can get a mortgage without a credit score. It's called manual underwriting, and banks did it for decades before FICO scores existed. Dave Ramsey and his team have helped thousands of people buy homes with zero credit score through manual underwriting. It takes a little more paperwork, but it's absolutely possible. And here's the bigger truth. Having zero debt and cash savings is better than having excellent credit and debt. Would you rather have an 820 credit score with $20,000 in credit card debt or a zero credit score with $20,000 in savings? The first person looks great on paper, but is one emergency away from financial disaster. The second person has actual money and financial security. The entire credit score system exists to measure one thing: how profitable you are as a borrower. Banks want to know if you'll borrow money and pay interest for decades. That's what a high credit score signals. You're a good customer for lenders. But you don't get wealthy by being a good customer for lenders. You get wealthy by not borrowing money and investing instead. The average millionaire has a credit score around 760, which is good but not perfect. Why? Because they don't obsess over credit scores. They focus on building wealth. Stop optimizing for your credit score. Start optimizing for your net worth. Those are two very different goals, and only one of them makes you rich. So here's exactly what you should do starting today. Here's your step-by-step plan to cancel your credit cards without destroying your finances. Step 1. Stop using cards. Immediately. Cut up your credit cards today. Don't cancel them yet, but stop using them. Switch to a debit card or cash for all purchases. Step 2. List all debts. Write down every credit card, the balance, interest rate, and minimum payment. Face the truth about how much you owe. Step 3. Pay off smallest balance. First, use the debt snowball method. Put all extra money toward the smallest balance while paying minimums on everything else. When the smallest is paid off, roll that payment into the next smallest. This creates momentum. Step 4. Cancel as you pay off. When each card reaches zero balance, call and cancel it. Don't keep it just in case. The temptation to use it will be too strong. Step 5. Build emergency fund. Once cards are paid off, build 3 to 6 months' expenses in a high-yield savings account. This prevents needing credit cards for emergencies. Step 6. Live on cash debit. Only use a debit card or cash envelope system. Studies show you'll spend 12 to 18% less than with credit cards. That's automatic savings. Step 7. Never go back. Once you're debt-free and have savings, stay that way. You don't need credit cards. They need you. And you might miss out on $400 in annual rewards, but you'll save thousands by not overspending and avoid the risk of falling back into debt. Financial freedom is better than credit card points. So we've covered the 5 reasons why you should cancel your credit cards. The interest rate trap with variable rates, automatically stealing 360 plusers per year from you. The rewards card scam that makes you spend $2,400 extra to earn $480 in cash back. The delinquency crisis with 11.35% of balances 90 days late showing we're heading toward consumer debt catastrophe. The credit score myth that keeps you borrowing when you can build wealth without debt. And your exact 7-step cancellation strategy to escape the debt trap forever. These are the truths the credit card industry doesn't want you to know because they make $130 billion annually from people trapped in debt. But here's something I didn't tell you at the start of this video. Everything I just shared is completely useless if you don't know how to actually live without credit cards and build wealth instead. Without a system for managing money without debt, you'll end up back where you started. Comment under this video and I will reveal the cash envelope system and zero-based budget that will help you build more wealth in 5 years than most people build in 20. I'll see you in the next one.